Hope you guys are having a fantastic day. So freaking pumped here. About to go hang out with my friend Josiah. Just got all ready. We're gonna go get some coffee, brew some coffee, hopefully as well. And since I work in coffee, I figured I should ask him some questions about what it is that most people are looking for when it comes to coffee. So let's get after it. Got to pack up the last bit of stuff here, get that all into this bag here, and let's freaking go! Alright, got everything packed up here, freaking ready to go. Fit check today, of course, we're doing cuts. Got the vintage sweats in freaking black, and then we're doing the winter solstice. Love this elongated top here, so who's ready to go? Boom! Alrighty, so we are off and rolling here. So here's what I have going on in my mind. I work in specialty coffee, so specialty coffee is just like, where to begin? It's also known as third wave coffee. There's 3 waves of coffee, basically, like you have from really quick origin of coffee. Middle wave is kind of when coffee became a real true commodity and was accessible to a lot of people, instead of just like really like rich elite monarchy type people back in the day. And so now third wave coffee is bringing it back to kind of its roots, which is the science in it, which is all of the measuring, the actual like what is actually the essence of coffee and how can we make it actually taste really good. So my question is, when trying to bring in the context of coffee or discussing coffee, or for me as I make specialty coffee as a specialty coffee barista, how do you properly, I guess, engage or just kind of like share that information in a way that makes sense? Because I've talked about specialty coffee a lot, but I feel like people don't understand. They think that when I talk about flavor notes, for example, that it's somehow like flavor infused, like you have maple pecan coffee and the hazelnut and whatever else is in it, and it's like that's not how it works. It's like in the soil and stuff like that. But it's like, is there a better way of being able to address that? So that's some of what I want to dive into today here, asking my friend Josiah, who's into special coffee, but he's also creative, so he's in both worlds. So we'll see how that goes. And we're here about to meet up with Josiah. Hey, let's get it. All right, sheesh! I'm excited for this. What did you think? Excited for this?
I love it.
What do you smell?
The first thing that jumps out is probably the honeycomb.
I was getting caramel, but I can totally see where you're getting that honeycomb. Which coffee is this again that we're doing?
Rwanda.
Alrighty. Apricot, honeycomb, elderberry jam, and caramel. So, this is kind of the question I had just in my mind. Like already, like even though we're both talking about the same coffee, whatnot, we have different experiences and different like a different context on it. So kind of share what was like your like initial journey of changing what you thought the context of coffee was.
So my journey with specialty coffee started from transitioning from your typical Folgers mixed with a ton of cream and a ton of flavored cream, first off, because black coffee, to most people, and to me at the time, tasted like burnt, like beans, basically. It tasted burnt, so I had to cover it in as much flavor as I could. But over time, I had friends that we would go down to Houston and we would go to like several different specialty coffee shops, and that was probably the first point where I was able to actually drink coffee black without having to cover it in any type of cream or flavor, and actually think that it tasted, you know, quite good. So it was a slow journey, but eventually I was able to transition completely out of having to use any type of cream, any type of flavor.
Absolutely love that story. So really what we're talking about here for context is that most people's context of coffee, and this is going to be the next question here, is that it seems to be like coffee is bitter, coffee is dark, and that you have to cover it up. Almost like having how you have to cover up bad barbecue with barbecue sauce. Is that what you would say, like most people's context of coffee? Like what do you think the context of coffee is for most people? When we bring it up, like,
I would say
even people who like. Sorry.
Yeah, I would say for most people, it is the caffeine that's within the coffee is the main reason that they are drinking it. So the flavor and everything is just like they're drinking coffee just to get the caffeine to get through the day for the most part. So they don't care about the actual taste of the coffee because it's just going to be covered with different flavor, and the coffee beans is just for caffeine.
Whatever, it's just kind of like generic base kind of thing. Very, very interesting. So what would you say is the one factor? What would be the one factor that distinguishes specialty coffee, or do you think is the best factor that helps you change the context of the normal coffee conversation?
I would say it comes down to nuance. So with specialty coffee, every coffee is different. It's not on a scale necessarily of like bad to good. It's just one coffee tastes more like this and one coffee tastes more like this. So for instance, kind of what like we're trying here now, some of them are going to be more floral, some of them are going to be more dark and like full-bodied, and they're going to have more, they're going to pair better with cream, so it's not as acidic.
I totally understand that for me, right? But I'm a specialty coffee barista. This is what I do. Like, you have really gone into the specialty world, and you understand that difference. How do you think this factor can be distinguished more or articulated better for someone who's like, oh yeah, I see, apricot and honeycomb? Is that like a flavor that's added there, kind of like vanilla?
I would say it's more like tasting notes. So it's very similar to wine. Coffee's very similar to wine. So the region it's grown in, the process that it's harvested and fermented in some cases with coffee. So a lot of different factors. It's not going to be a flavor that's necessarily added to it, but it's going to be something that kind of influences the taste of the cup of coffee.
Okay. I absolutely like that. I think that is a great outline and a true good distinguishing that it's the bean itself, like where it's grown, like you're saying, with wine, different regions, altitudes, soil, nutrients and whatnot, that is what contributes to the actual taste of the coffee naturally. There's nothing artificial added, it's not a flavor. So how do you think that brings value to people, again, who are trying to reframe the context, right? So we're reframing the context. We've talked about the one factor that helps you reframe that, right? Distinguishing that, the nuance of the bean. How is that going to, how can we then package that or give that value perception correctly?
So coffee really is a way to bring people together. So I think, for some people it's sports, for some people it's like coming over and having a nice bottle of wine. But in a lot of situations it's, coming together and having a nice cup of coffee and enjoying each other's company. So I think that's really the value that coffee, the specialty coffee industry brings to people, is it's a way to kind of gather people together over one common goal of enjoying a good cup of coffee and finding out what a good cup of coffee is, because that can mean good coffee can mean different things to different people depending on what your preferences are. Do you like fruity coffee? Do you like floral? Do you like darker roast? Do you like so many different nuances with coffee? So right. I think that's the main thing, is the community aspect of bringing people together with coffee. So
the right environment that fosters a personal connection with the coffee and allows you to explore it in a more open and not restrictive or controlled.
So really free environment. Yeah. So, yeah, absolutely.
Let's go ahead and try this one that we have here. So this is the Rwandan we got here. It's a natural. What did you say you had again? Ooh.
I get hit with the apricot first.
I couldn't agree more. Now that it's cooled down a bit, that's totally what I'm getting.
Oh, no, I was wrong. It's the elderberry jam for sure.
Really?
I'm confusing it for the elderberry jam. Because elderberry is very potent. Like, I feel like from this coffee you get or at least my experience is that first sip was like very potent, like flavor.
It is. That's it for me, guys. Thank you so much, Josiah, for taking the time to sit down here and share your thoughts. Absolutely love it. I honestly think you actually have a more refined palate than I do. But absolutely love this. Really enjoyed this coffee. Go ahead, guys, drop it in the comments. We'd love to hear what has been your experience and what is the context of coffee for you all, and what would be something that you would like to hear about in a future video, shifting the context of coffee for you all. Go ahead, smash that like button and the subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys all in the next video.